Okay, good afternoon and welcome to another episode of the Real Talk Show. This episode is exciting and we are happy to be here and to just share one or two things that we are looking at today. And of course, I know that a number of you have been seeing what is happening on our page, what is happening on our social media platforms. And of course, we're talking about none other than Aunty Mimi. This is something that we've been talking about, something that um, we've been showing you. Ask Auntie Mimi, what is it? We've been telling you a number of things about it. We've posted a number of posters on how you can just access it, how you can use it. But you might still have those questions and you need answers to those questions. That's why we have come with this show just to ensure that we talk more about it and we have different guests here. Maybe the other face might be familiar, but the other one might be a very new face to your screens. But you don't have to worry because these are the people that are just going to help us understand more on what Ask Auntie Mimi is all about. So, before we dive into our conversation of the day, I will let each one of our guests to just introduce themselves. They will tell us their name, where they're coming from, and their position or what they do before we can jump into the conversation of the day. So we're not going to go with ladies first. We have to change the narrative. We are going with gents first. So Wilson, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much, Margaret. My name is Wilson Julius. I'm the team lead web development and digital innovations at Pinch Africa. Part of the team behind Antimini itself in terms of the infrastructure, how it works, and the more technical aspect of Antimini. And I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much, Wilson. Um, we'll go to Miranda. Miranda, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, Margaret. It's such a pleasure to be here after a while. It's been quite a while. And Wilson, we're happy to have you here. Just like Margaret mentioned, my name is Miranda Ziba. I am Policy Advocacy and Networking Manager here at the Youth Platform. And I'm really glad to be part of this show. I'm looking forward to sharing my experience and responding to most of the questions that young people have been asking around Ask Auntie Mimi, as it has been a pleasure introducing it to the young people and also onboarding facilities that have been onboarded on the Ask Auntie Mimi platform. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for those introductions. So you've heard we have one who is a developer, and of course we're going to speak to Miranda, who's going to just help us understand more on how best we can access Antimimi, how best we can ask the questions, and how we can just work around it. Anyways, before I can even go further, let me not forget to introduce one other person that we don't really get to hear from, but we just see her do the hands. And this is none other than Memory Zulu. So Memory is helping us just to ensure that our fellow adolescents and young people out there are included in this show and they are able to participate through her being here. And of course, my name is Margaret Selemani. I can introduce others, but I forget to introduce myself. But for now, I think a number of you know who I am. And my name is Margaret Selemani, your host for the Real Talk Show. So before we dive right into the conversation of the day, would like to just listen to some of the things that young people out there have to say about Auntie Mimi. Those young people who've tried to access it. They're just giving us a feedback of what they think about Auntie Mimi. And let's watch this as we get back with the questions for our guests.
Falanga. I work for the Youth Platform 360 and I'm based in Kitwe, Kofabel Province. And I'm so excited to share my experience on the Ask Auntie Mimi platform. I think Ask Auntie Mimi is a very youth-friendly and accessible platform. I like the fact that it creates a safe and private space where young people are able to ask questions on their health, relationships, and mental health. I also like that it's playful and engaging, which makes it to be less intimidating for the young people. One of the things I like most about the platform is that it's anonymous. Young people can ask questions without having to share their names, and they also have the option to delete their data. That just promotes privacy. Another thing that I liked about the platform is that it can help young people locate youth-friendly facilities near them, with information about the facility and also a contact of a healthcare provider. Being able to start consultation before visiting the facility could make it much easier for young people who are hesitant to seek services in person. I'm looking forward to using the period tracker, especially because it is free and it can help young women better understand and plan around their menstrual health. I also appreciate the different language options. That just shows that the platform is inclusive. Overall, I will rate Ask Aunty Mimi a solid 5 out of 5 because it is a great initiative and I really do look forward to having to explore more. Thank you.
My name is Bridget Esdure and I'm from Great Zimbabwe University. I'm sure you've already heard about Aunty Mimi and you're probably wondering, what's that? Come let me tell you. It's a digital health platform designed to respond to young people's needs for accurate, private and youth-friendly health information. Yes, it's called Aunt because just like an aunt, it advises and guides. But the best part of this is completely non-judgmental, available 24/7 and it's anonymous. My favorite part of Aunty Mimi is connects individual with nearby clinics. You don't just get information, you also get to know where to get the real help. I would rate this platform a 5 out of 5. Yes, if you want to know more about Aunty Mimi, click on the link below. Get to ask many questions about periods, mental health, consent, family planning, HIV, PrEP, and many more. Thank you so much for a youth-friendly health platform.
Okay, so those are the people that have managed to use Aunty Mimi at the moment, and those are the rates that they're just rating it at the end of the day. If you're one person who has heard about Aunty Mimi and you just haven't tried it, or you'd like to try it, just ensure that you use the link in our captions. We have the links in our captions. Almost each and every post that we've been making on Aunty Mimi has a link that can take you to the platform itself. Just get to interact with it and know more about it. You don't just have to listen to it while people are talking about it, but you have to use it. So thank you so very much for those views that we've collected from the young people. So we're diving right into our conversation. And of course, I would like to first ask the question to our developer. I know that for you to come up with such a platform or such an idea of creating such a platform, there must have been something that inspired you, or maybe there are some gaps that you are trying to address. So, Wilson, kindly tell us what inspired the development of Ask Aunty Mimi, and were there specific gaps that you were trying to address with this platform?
Thank you so much, Margaret, again. I wouldn't, we as Prince Africa wouldn't really take the whole credit in terms of the idea behind that team. It's been part of, some of the systems that the youth platform has been looking to implement, especially just improving access to credible and timely information. One of the primary gaps, especially our local systems here in Africa have been experiencing. And yeah, I'd say that has been primarily been the inspiration behind that team. Uh, Providing a place where the youth especially can get access to timely information and most importantly credible information. There's been a whole problem or rather issue around misinformation, especially when there's a lot of speculation, especially with the new issues that the youth are facing. Um, yeah, so just filling in that gap, both timely and credible information. Yeah, and I'm happy to see it come around. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Well, of course, we have a number of things that are happening among us young people, and I feel like having this platform will really help a number of young people, especially looking at the fact that it's even anonymous. Like you're not going to be known, and no one is going to know that you are talking to such, and your information will be out there. This is a very good development. Thank you so very much for that, Wilson. So I'm going to go to Miranda. We have seen in the videos, we have the two ladies talking about Aunty Mimi, and they're rating it, and they're kind of telling us how they are going to be using it at the end of the day. But then you being from the Youth Platform 360, and of course this is a product for the Youth Platform 360. So even the time this platform was being made, did you have like a specific age that you are trying to target?
Thank you very much for that question, Margaret. So to start with, before we even created Ask Aunty Mimi, we have been interacting with a lot of young people across the nation and even in other countries, and seeing how we are able to provide information to young people online. We've had a number of young people coming into our inboxes and asking a lot of questions. And in most cases, some questions would need a healthcare provider to be able to respond to those questions. And sometimes we will have to refer the young person to go and access services at a certain health facility. So we thought, why not have a platform where young people can actually go straight and interact with the healthcare providers and be able to access these services easily where they are. So in terms of the age, currently, I will say that Ask Aunty Mimi does not have a specific age that we are targeting, but mainly we do have a primary target of adolescents and young people who are seeking information. So as long as you are a young person, you are seeking information, and you're also probably seeking support on sexual reproductive health rights, you would like support on mental health, mental well-being, the platform is the right place to be. We do not specifically have an age group that we want to only focus on, but it's open for all. But just to mention that it's very youth friendly. So even if an adult was to come and access the platform, they will access it and it will acclimatize. The language will also be based on the type of input that it is getting from this young person or this elderly person. So the platform is actually designed to be accessed by anyone. And just like Margaret mentioned, it's anonymous and it's non-judgmental. And it also allows young people to ask questions that they feel very uncomfortable to ask in person. And it also, in an event that a young person is not very comfortable to ask a health worker, a parent, or a friend, Ask Aunty Mimi platform is the right platform to be able to get such responses.
Thank you for that, Miranda. Maybe before you could even leave, I would like to ask another, just a follow-up question. You've mentioned to say this Aunty Mimi is a platform, quite right, it's non-judgmental and it's anonymous, but then maybe there must be somebody who's asking out there and be like, is there a person behind Aunty Mimi, or there's somebody else I'm talking to? Please just help us understand, Miranda. Is there a person behind Aunty Mimi, like the person that we are talking to, the person that is responding to young people's questions?
So Ask Aunty Mimi is actually an AI-generated platform that helps young people to get information and linked to services. So we do not necessarily have a person behind Aunty Mimi, where when you get to access the platform, you will be speaking to a person. But Just like I mentioned, it's an AI generated platform. So as you are speaking or as you access Ask Aunty Mimi, the first you will land on is the AI platform. And then when Ask Aunty Mimi realizes that you will actually need personal interaction or human interaction, then it links you to human interaction. And we have some healthcare providers, some counselors, and other people that are on board and readily available to respond to certain queries and provide counsel to those that need human interaction. So Ask Aunty Mimi is an AI generated platform, but it's also able to link you to human interaction as and when it realizes that there is need, or it detects that there is need for human interaction.
Thank you so much for that clarification, Miranda. So just as you have heard, it's an AI platform. This doesn't mean that there's somebody behind it, there's Margaret behind it, there's Miranda behind it, and they're going to be watching your chats, they're going to be seeing what you want to do. You want to have an abortion and maybe you're not comfortable and you're like, oh, maybe if I talk about it with Aunty Mimi, this person might know what I'm intending to do and whatnot. So in case you're just joining us, this is the Real Talk Show. And of course, on today's episode, we are having a topic which is very interesting, or rather we are discussing the platform that we have just introduced us, the Youth Platform 360. And this is a platform we're calling Ask Aunty Mimi. This is a platform where young people can just interact with it and ask questions that they need to know about their health, their nearest health facility, and just anything that has to do with sexual and reproductive health and rights for young people. So I'm going to go back to our developer, but before I do that, to each and every particular person watching, our audience, you know that you're my favorite people on the show, in as much as I have the guests. You're my favorite people on the show, and we love it when we hear from you. We love it when we are interacting with you, and that's why the comment section is always open for you. Do you have any questions regarding Aunty Mimi? Would you like to know something? Would you like to ask Wilson or Miranda any question? Would you like to know where your nearest health facility is and how best you can just navigate through this platform? Please, the comment section is open for you, or you can comment and just let us know what exactly you want to ask. So I'm going back to Wilson. Wilson, please, would like you to help us just understand how Aunty Mimi works. Like, how does it work, and how can young people use it to ask questions that regards to their sexual and reproductive health?
It's pretty much simple. Just click and chat. That easy. But essentially, you can find Aunty Mimi on pretty much all of our social media platforms. You can access it through auntimimi.org. That's the website. You can also access it through our WhatsApp number. Just click and start chatting. It's that simple. Without getting into the more technical aspects in terms of how Aunty Mimi is built and how everything is processed. As Margaret said and Miranda said, Aunty Mimi is powered by an AI algorithm, which is specially trained. It's not like your normal ChatGPT and Geminis and Clouds and all the other AI models out there. So it's specially trained with the most recent, most approved, most credible MOH and WHO or whatever. Pretty much all the major health approving organization data to make sure that you only get the most accurate information in terms of the medication that is going out there, in terms of information around some of the issues the youth are facing, in terms of especially the facilities. I'm really happy. We're really coming up with a solid database in terms of where youth and pretty much anyone having a conversation with Aunty Mimi can access solid health services. And if you visit our website or WhatsApp, ask about any question. If you need access to a health facility, just mention that Aunty Mimi is trained and it has access to a solid database in terms of where the facilities are located, and it will share that information with you in terms of the location of the facility, contact information of the personnel located in those facilities, their working hours, the kind of services they offer at those facilities, just to make sure you get the best and only the best service that you need. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Wilson. So just by listening to what Wilson is kind of explaining this, Aunty Mimi, it's already an exciting platform. Like you are just sitting to yourself. You feel like you need to access a service and you have no idea where exactly you can access a service. There's Aunty Mimi, you just click on the link, you start interacting with Aunty Mimi, and of course it's going to take you to your nearest health facility and you'll be able to access the services that you need to access at the end of the day. Just because it's AI, it doesn't mean that the information that it provides is inaccurate. The information provided on Aunty Mimi has been fed by our developer, who is none other than Wilson and the team. It has been fed the information about your location. It has been fed the information about the nearest health facility you can access, the services that are available, and different responses that you would need at the end of the day. So riding on Wilson's response, I will move to Miranda. Miranda, we have a number of young people, and of course we know that at this particular time, we have young people who get to get information from different sources, especially information that has to do with their sexual and reproductive health and rights. So why should young people choose Aunty Mimi instead of maybe still using the same methods of going to maybe using Uncle Google, or maybe using, or maybe just accessing information from their friends? Why should they settle for Aunty Mimi?
All right, great. That's a great question. So I'll start by mentioning that Aunty Mimi was developed after realizing the needs of young people, and it is actually a response to what young people need. So it has actually been created to provide a combination of privacy, convenience, and it provides information in locally relevant contexts, and also it connects you to the real service, unlike any other platform that you may come across. So a young person can actually go and access Aunty Mimi, ask sensitive questions anonymously without having their to disclose their identity. And also, unlike the general Google search, for example, Aunty Mimi actually provides you with responses that are in a conventional and youth-friendly way. So it uses local language as well, just so you know. It uses local language, or the current currently we have 9 local languages, or rather 9 different languages, including the local languages of that we have here in Zambia. And also, just so you know, it also uses slang. So it gets to understand your slang as a young person, and it also responds to you according to how you interact with it. So just recently, I was trying to interact with Aunty Mimi, and it called me sweetie. So it gets to know the mood, to read the mood, and responds to you just like a human. So that's another thing that should lead you to using Ask Aunty Mimi. And also to mention that you don't need to download an application. Just like Wilson said, you can access it through the website, you can access it through WhatsApp, you can access it through Messenger, Facebook Messenger, or simply by somebody sharing a link with you, you will be able to access Ask Aunty Mimi. And also, we have been mentioning this, it connects you to verified health facilities, connects you to verified health providers, and also provides you with approximate appropriate next steps for any issue that you have been encountering or what you have been discussing. So unlike other apps, the platform is actually available, and it has several other channels. It has a period tracker as well that allows adolescent girls and young women to be able to track their menses. You don't always have to keep, so that, I mean, gives you another reason to even delete some of those applications on your phone that could be making your phone full, and you can apply, you can really access that through Ask Aunty Mimi. So it's ready to use, just like I mentioned. You easily access it through a link, through a phone number, and you don't really require to install an application. Just to mention those few reasons. Otherwise, Ask Aunty Mimi is the place to be.
Thank you so much for that, Miranda. And of course, I hope each and every person who's watching and each and every person listening to this, they are able to just feel that this Aunty Mimi platform is where they're supposed to be, and something that they have to use for them to just ask the questions that they have and just find out more on what they really need to know about their sexual reproductive health and the services that are available in these different health facilities. So, Wilson, Miranda has mentioned a number of things about Aunty Mimi, and she mentioned to say there are some, like it's using different slangs, and at the moment we have at least 9 languages that it's using. But then I wanted to ask, because when we look at Aunty Mimi and when we look at TYP, I should say, when we look at TYP, we don't just have young people around Zambia, that like the locality is not just around Zambia, but we have young people that are outside, maybe young people from Zimbabwe, South Africa, Malawi. So now, is Aunty Mimi accessible to our friends out there, or it's just for Zambians? Wilson.
Aunty Mimi is accessible for everyone, even outside Africa, who needs that help or that assistance or that company that Aunty Mimi could give. So anywhere you're accessing it from, it should work, and it does work. And yeah, in terms of inclusivity, as I mentioned, Aunty Mimi is trained with accurate and relevant data. Of course, to make sure that it's inclusive in terms of how it accommodates the different people with the different needs, especially if you visit the Aunty Mimi website, you'll notice that we even have accessibility menus for people who might be visually impaired. Just the things to help them access that information that they need without any blocker or any problems rather. So yeah, in terms of accessibility, we made sure that it works at that level and that capacity, and even in terms of the different languages, as Margaret mentioned, we made sure that we incorporated some of the major languages and even a lot of the local languages. And as we continue to grow, the vision is to train Aunty Mimi with even the local languages in all the other countries within Africa. We really want to make sure that it's properly accessible, and yeah, I'd say it's really well developed in such a way that it's accessible to all.
Thank you so much for that, Wilson. And of course, you heard it yourself, Aunty Mimi is accessible to anyone. It doesn't matter where you are, but so long as you want to access Aunty Mimi, it's available for each and every particular person who wants to access it. So we can't just be talking on our own here, and we know that we have an audience, and our audience is obviously in the comment section. So we're going to go ahead and just read some of the questions and some of the comments in the comment section. So we have a comment from Bridget, and Bridget says, thank you for such a wonderful platform. Thank you, Bridget, for coming through, and thank you for commenting. So we have another one here, and it comes from Victoria, and Victoria says, my favorite part about Aunty Mimi is that everything I need when it comes to SRH information and services is all in one place, from linkage to privacy and efficiency. Truly a girl's best friend. Thank you so very much for that, Victoria. And we have another one from Sam. Sam says, the world needs Aunty Mimi because we have lost many people because they were either afraid of stigma due to disclosure of their problem, or they had no one to talk to. Thank you so very much for that, Sam. keep your comments coming. We have another one from Namia Bahimamba, and she says, my favorite part about Aunty Mimi is that I'm able to get information on SRH, ask questions freely, maintain privacy, and know where to access the services I need. It makes getting the right information easier and friendly. Thank you so much, Namiaba, for coming through. You can keep them coming. We have another one from Hachibwa Himamba. And this one says, I just discovered that I have a personal doctor right in my pocket without any payments needed, just a little bundle. Aunty Mimi is just the right initiative with the right information at the right time for the right generation. Thank you so very much for that comment. And we're glad that these comments are coming from you. And I have another one from Caristo. Caristo says, my favorite part about Aunty Mimi is that I'm able to get information on sexual reproductive health, ask questions freely without being judged, and maintain my privacy and know where services are found. The challenge comes when you don't have the bundles and smartphone to use. Yeah, that's very, very challenge. Thank you so very much for that, Caristo. You can keep your comments coming. We have another one from Karen, and Karen is our usual. Like, Karen needs a present at this point. So Karen says, my favorite part about Aunty Mimi is that it's able to tell the accurate location of a health facility and the kind of SRH services that are being provided. Thank you so very much, Karen, and thank you so much for joining the Real Talk Show again today. So we have another one that's coming from Hansel Mwetwa, and it says, does Ask Aunty Mimi include a feedback process after service delivery to evaluate how the service was provided? This is a question from Hansel, and I think the developer would be in the best space to respond to this. Will, are you in the best space to respond to this?
I'll try my best. Yeah.
You can go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you. In terms of feedback, if you visit the Aunty Mimi platform, you'll notice per facility we have provision to provide feedback in terms of how your experience was, especially at facility level, because that's where the actual service delivery happens. But in terms of in terms of Aunty Mimi itself as well, if you've interacted with Aunty Mimi, at a point you might have seen a follow-up question, maybe to ask you like, how was your experience? Did you get to the facility? And as we continue, we continue to make that robust, so that maybe even after you've given your feedback, maybe you received a certain service. After a week or so, or even after a month, Aunty Mimi gets to follow up with you in terms of how you're doing, in terms of how the experience is based on the service that you received, and just to ensure that everything is actually followed through, especially when it comes to the service itself. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Wilson. And I hope the response is clear to Hansel. So we have another one. And Richard is saying, great initiative. Thank you so very much, Richard, for that. And of course, you can keep your comments coming, and we are here to read your comments. And if you have any questions, you can keep them coming, and we'll be able to just interact with you. And Wilson and Miranda, they are here to just ensure that they respond to all these questions that you are coming with. So I have another comment from Karen, and Karen is saying, is Aunty Mimi able to make a prescription when you describe what you are feeling? So is Aunty Mimi able to prescribe medication? Miranda, would you like to respond to that?
Yes, please. So, Ask Aunty Mimi does not provide prescriptions, but it has what we call a symptom checker, which is just able to share with you what those symptoms could mean, and it will now lead you to to a healthcare provider or direct you to access services at a verified healthcare facility, or it will link you to a provider. So once it gets to that point where you get you want to start asking questions around what prescriptions and things like that, it will ask you to reach out to a healthcare provider, access service from a certified provider, and it will also provide you with suggestions of where you can access those services. So just like we have been mentioning, it's the knowledge base is based on the content that is developed by Ministry of Health and World Health Organization. And we also have local counselors and certified organizations that are recognized. And through that, Ask Aunty Mimi will not provide you any prescription, but it will only provide you with guidelines on how you can access the service that you need and where you can get a service after you have provided with it your symptoms and what you're feeling, and then it gets to lead you to where you can access that service. I recall very well one of the cervical cancer providers I was interacting with and sharing Aunty Mimi with. She tried to get to the platform and asked a number of questions that obviously a provider would ask just to be sure that the platform is credible enough. And she came back and told me it actually provides me with responses that are in accordance to the guidelines and procedures that have been provided by Ministry of Health. So to me, I think this platform is really genuine, and it really gives the young people accurate information. So we get that verification from healthcare providers as well, who have also confirmed that it will not come and provide a prescription, but it really directs the young person to the right place to access the service. If the young person is in a certain area, it even asks you where you are and where you'd like to access the service based on the options that it gives you. So it will provide you with different options of health facilities where you can access the service, and it asks you to choose which one you would prefer to access the service from. And once you pick, it can also go further and provide you with information of a healthcare provider that you can meet as you go to that health facility, because we also have healthcare providers on board who are readily available to receive young people at the health facilities through Ask Aunty Mimi platform. So in a nutshell, Ask Aunty Mimi platform does not provide prescriptions, but it only leads you to where you can access the service.
Thank you so very much for that, Miranda. I hope that answers the response from Miss Lungu. So we have another comment here, and it says, I saw an application. Is it a verified one? So this is a question that I would throw to our developer. Wilson, please respond to this question.
Thank you so much for that question. I don't know whether you saw an actual application maybe on the Play Store, because we haven't developed an application for Aunty Mimi yet. Aunty Mimi is only accessible through the website and the WhatsApp number. We will connect Aunty Mimi to social media as well, so that you can interact with it from Instagram or Facebook, inbox and Messenger respectively. And yeah, in terms of verification, the information Aunty Mimi provides is verified, and it's in accordance with MOH and WHO. And yeah, it is verified, the information. And on top of that, we have healthcare professionals actively monitoring the kind of responses Aunty Mimi is giving and the kind of questions Aunty Mimi is receiving. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Wilson. We have another one here. This is Mark. And Mark is asking, does Aunty Mimi have a reminder for pickups? Wilson, I think this is yours again. Does Aunty Mimi have a reminder for pickups?
I'll assume by pickups he means is it picking up maybe prescriptions? I think so. I'll assume that. So for that, unless Aunty Mimi is requested to, which of course is a solid infrastructure to have in terms of making sure that people stay on toes, or people are actually taking whatever prescription they get through the connected facility they are given through Aunty Mimi. So I think that will be a solid addition as well. Yeah, but currently, I wouldn't say it can accurately remind you. So, yeah, just keep that in mind.
All right.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
thank you so much
Well,
for that,
Wilson.
Wilson. Yes, Miranda, you can go
Sorry
ahead.
about that, Margaret, but I just thought I mentioned that it actually has an option to track your pill uptake, and it gives you a pill reminder. So as and when you just input that data and ask that it should remind you of your pill uptake, then it can be able to show you, to give you that reminder each time. And so I think even drug pickup then would also be a component that it can be able to respond to.
Yeah, thank you for that, Miranda. Yes, it can remind you to, especially if you're on if you're on a prescription, Antimimi can remind you in terms of when you're supposed to have the drug. But yeah, in terms of picking it from the facility, not yet, but definitely a module to think of and to add on.
All right, thank you so much for those responses and contributions. So I have another comment here, and it says, when are you installing Aunty Mimi sign language? When are you in? So this question, we don't even have to ask ourselves who's going to respond to it, because we know exactly who's going to respond to it, and it's Wilson. Wilson, when is this going to happen?
We have tried to really accommodate everyone in terms of, especially people who are differently able. That would be also a solid addition. Definitely a challenge to us in terms of thinking how that would work. But yeah, everyone deserves access to to such a platform.
All right, thank you so much. So just as we mentioned that Anti-Mimi is for everyone, like each and every particular person who wants to use Anti-Mimi, they can use it. And so it's a developing platform, I should say. So all those things that you'd like to see on the platform, we have Wilson here, and all you have to say is just give a suggestion and tell us why that is important to be included on the Anti-Mimi, and we'll see how best we can just ensure that we include it so that each and every particular person can benefit from it. So we still have more comments coming, and this one comes from Mark, and Mark says, is Anti-Mimi a free app or it will be requesting bundles? So this one goes back to Wilson. Wilson, is Anti-Mimi a free app, or it requires one to have bundles for them to access it or just use it?
Yeah, Antimimi is absolutely free. Of course, you'd have to you need access to just a small amount of bundles. But yeah, you can access Antimimi through WhatsApp. You don't need a lot of data to have a conversation with Antimimi. Yeah, similarly, you can access it through the website. And as I mentioned, we are working on plans to have it on our socials as well. So you can go to Facebook Messenger and have a conversation with Anthony from there. You can go on Instagram and have a conversation with it from there as well. Yeah, it is free, but of course you need access to internet.
Thank you. We have another comment here from Abigail, and Abigail is asking if Anti-Mimi is only for SRH. Miranda, you can go ahead and respond to that.
So Ask Aunty Mimi platform has quite a number of healthcare providers that are on board to respond to different health services. It was initially built for SRH services, SRH, HIV, among others. But with the healthcare providers that we have online available to respond to issues that are affecting young people, Ask Aunty Mimi is able to also respond to certain other conditions. And also, we also focus on mental health. It also provides counseling on mental health, or rather mental well-being, and young people who are experiencing mental health breakdowns are able to go there and speak to Ask Aunty Mimi. And when Ask Aunty Mimi realizes that there is need to bring when it detects a risk or a crisis situation from a young person, it's able to it's actually designed to flag the conversation and involve a human counselor where the young person needs human intervention. Even in cases of GBV, Ask Aunty Mimi is also able to link you to access services post GBV, or if you're experiencing GBV, it also helps you and links you to the helpline that is able to respond to GBV cases. So we do not solely focus on sexual reproductive health, but Ask Aunty Mimi is also able to respond to mental health, and also GBV cases.
Thank you so much for that, Miranda. Wilson, do you have anything else to add before we could move to the next question?
Yeah, just to add on that, I know some people might have maybe other issues or other inquiries that are not SRHR related. We will have another different AI-powered conversational assistant that will be housed on the youth platform. So make sure you're registered as a member. There you can ask it any other thing related to the youth platform, be it opportunities in terms of job opportunities. We get to post a lot of that on the membership portal. If you have inquiries about some of the events we have, or even just general information, if you just want to have a conversation with, you'll have it through the members portal. So make sure you register as a member on the youth platform.
Thank you for that, Wilson. And yeah, if you want to find out more information on Aunty Mimi or any other information about the Youth Platform 360, job opportunities, and just other opportunities that are being offered by the Youth Platform, all you have to do is to just ensure that you become a member, you become part of TYP, and you'll be able to access all this information, and you'll be able to ask all those questions that you have. It might not just be about sexual reproductive health and rights, but it can be something different. If you have any other comments, any other questions that you'd like to ask our guests, you can bring them on. As you have seen today, time is moving a little bit fast. So we do not want to leave you with a question. So we have another comment, and it says, I'm glad it has a period tracker because I failed to track my periods. Yeah, you see, these are the benefits of using Aunty Mimi. So just ensure that you feed it the right information, and of course, it's going to help you at the end of the day to just track your periods. So we have another one here from Faith Malambo, and Faith says the security and clarity Mimi. Sorry. The security and clarity Mimi has given me confidence to express my concerns, and the responses are extremely superb. Don't hold back. Engage with Mimi, engage with Mimi, and get the deserved help. Thank you so very much for that comment. And of course, you see, Faith is already calling Aunty Mimi Mimi. You see, you can call it, and it's going to know how best it can also just respond back to you. So we have another one from Hali, and Hali says, such an amazing innovation. Thank you so very much for that. And yeah, it really is an amazing innovation. So we have another one here, and it says it's a powerhouse. There is a lot of accurate information that you can access from there. Try it. Genuinely, you will love it. Thank you so very much for that. And of course, we can see from the comment section, and we can see from what you people are telling and attesting that Aunty Mimi is truly a powerhouse. So we have another one here and says this one, it's a question. Does Aunty Mimi remind when you are about to start your menstrual flow? So I think Miranda had already mentioned to say Aunty Mimi has got a component of tracking your period. So if you just if you feed it with the accurate information, just as you use these other apps to track your menstrual cycle, they say it's the same way with Aunty Mimi. You can just feed it with the accurate information of your cycle, and it will be able to remind you when it's time. So just try it and see how best it works for you, and we'll definitely be glad to hear your feedback on how your experience will be. So if we have any other comments, you can just bring them on. We read those comments as we are going to start winding up. Time seems to be running very fast, and I know that a number of you have a number of questions that you'd like to ask our guests. But as we wait for more comments, I would ask Miranda. Miranda, we've spoken about Aunty Mimi being a platform where young people can access different sexual reproductive health information. It can actually link them to the health facilities, like the nearest health facilities, and they can access different services from there. But then, what is it that we are doing to just ensure that these health facilities are updated and they're verified? And what gets to happen if a young person speaks to Aunty Mimi? Like, a young person interacts with Aunty Mimi, they want a service about something, and Aunty Mimi says, "Oh, since you are in Indola, I would like, since you are in Indola, the nearest health facility you can visit is Lubuto, and Lubuto is going to provide you such and such a service." But then when a young person and they find that such a service is not available, what can young people do when they find themselves in such a situation?
All right, thanks, Margaret, for that. So to start with, on Ask Aunty Mimi platform, we have health facilities that have been onboarded, and this onboarding has been done physically at the health facility, where we are able to pick the GPS. So when a young person says they want to access the service and they're in Dola, it can even lead them through Google Maps and provide them with the GPS on how they can access the facility. So as they get to the facility, for some institutions, for some facilities, we have healthcare providers on board who are able to receive the young people as they get to the facility. And for some, where we do not have the healthcare providers, it actually just leads them to the health facility. And once they get there, they can be able to ask where to access the service that they need. And so the platform also allows young people to report issues. And for example, if they find a situation where there are stockouts, they're able to get back and report the stockouts. They're able to also report staff attitude, and they're also able to report confidentiality issues or whether they've been denied the service, which can, and this can really just be fed into the platform, and we use this for accountability as and when we get to interact with the actual facilities during our visits and interactions with the facilities. So by virtue of us having the facilities onboarded, this does not necessarily mean that verification of availability of service happens in real time, because the platform incorporates, allows young people to give us feedback, but we do not manage to get the availability of services immediately. the service is the facility is onboarded, and we are aware that where the facility is, and we are aware that these are the services that are available at the facility. But we do not always have information of stockouts, and so we rely on young people to provide us with feedback after they access the service, or whether they found a stockout of their preferred service. They're able to come back and provide feedback to the platform and tell us how their service was. So just like I mentioned, we have both the private and government facilities onboarded on Ask Aunty Mimi. For some private, I would mention we do have Marie Stops on board. And also with government health facilities, we have government health facilities from all the 10 provinces being onboarded currently. And so any young person from any part of the country currently is able to access services through Ask Aunty Mimi, and they'll be linked to service at the facility. So just like we have mentioned, it's been fed by humans. And so as a human provides us with feedback on stockouts. For example, if we get to realize that there are so many frequent stockouts at a certain facility, then we try to find which other facility would be more convenient and more reliable, and ensure that Ask Aunty Mimi is also fed with that information. And so young people can be referred to that particular facility that is more reliable. So for now, we depend on feedback from young people who are accessing the services, and we just direct the young people to the right place where they're able to access the service in a more reliable way.
Thank you so much for that response, Miranda. We're running out of time, and of course, we have to wind up the show. And so I'm going to ask one last question to each of our guests before we go. If you are watching and you still have a burning question, and you wouldn't want us to leave you hanging with that question, this is the time you have to ask the question whilst we still have the guests on the screen, so that they can respond to your question. If not, I'm going to ask my last questions to our guests, so that we just ensure that we wind up and ensure that any other person would like to watch this show, they're able to watch it and it's not too long for them to finish watching it. So I'm going to go to Wilson. So Wilson, looking at Aunty Mimi itself and just looking ahead of time, what would you like to ask? What would you like to achieve rather out of Aunty Mimi? Like, it's a platform, yes, it's helping young people, but what is it that we're trying to achieve at the end of the day? And I know that we kind of touched a little bit on the future plans that we have for Aunty Mimi, but maybe you can just speak to it again and just help us, so that maybe we may be able to understand, even as we are using Aunty Mimi, as a young person is using Aunty Mimi out there, they're not just going to use it because it's present now, but they should be using it knowing that they can use it even as time goes by. So what plans do you have for Aunty Mimi in the near future, and if there are any plans to improve or expand the platform based on the experiences that we're getting from young people? Wilson.
My vision for Aunty Mimi would be to see an Aunty Mimi accessible to all youth, not just in Africa but worldwide. It's quite saddening, the amount of people who lose their lives due to lack of information and lack of timely information, especially, and accurate information. So just bridging that gap in terms of access, especially. Yeah, I'd like to see an Aunty Mimi that is accessible to everyone from any part of the world, whether it's in Europe, whether it's in Africa, whether it's in Russia, anywhere where the youth are experiencing their issues with. Because one thing, the issue that you as a youth in Zambia are facing, especially in terms of SRHR, are pretty much the same issues another youth somewhere else is facing. So yeah, just bridging that gap. And of course, in terms of expanding, sorry, Margaret, we do have plans to have Aunty Mimi, especially in terms of facilities. We do have plans to onboard a lot more facilities, not just in Zambia, even in Zimbabwe, in basically all countries within the region, so that also support Aunty Mimi. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so very much for that, Wilson. So this is Aunty Mimi is here to stay. Aunty Mimi is not a once-off thing. It's here to stay. And if you have to interact with it, this is the time for you to start so that we just get conversant with the platform itself. So I'm going to go to Miranda. And Miranda, I know we have a number of young people who are watching. Maybe they just stumbled on this show for the first time, and maybe they have never used Aunty Mimi, and they don't know how it works. They don't know, maybe they've just heard about it, like the facilities they can access, the services that they can learn about using Aunty Mimi. But you being somebody who has used it and you know what it's all about, what is that one thing you'd like young people to know about Aunty Mimi as we close?
So from me, what I say to this young person that is watching and has never come across Aunty Mimi, what I have to say to you is that Ask Aunty Mimi is that one platform, or that girlfriend, that auntie, that friend, that sister that you can actually access and not ever be afraid to ask any embarrassing question that you've had. If there's that question that you have been thinking it's a silly question, Ask Aunty Mimi is that platform that you can get to ask that question, because it's safe. It's it's a very safe space. It's anonymous, like we have been mentioning, and you can ask any questions that you may not be comfortable to ask anyone else, or that you may not be comfortable to ask a human. But here on Ask Aunty Mimi platform, you can be able to ask that question, and you'll get simple and reliable information around your questions, and you'll be connected to real service. So it's a one-stop center. It's a one-stop platform where when you come here, you're going to ask your questions and you're going to be given the feedback, and also you get connected to the service. I mean, what else can a young person really ask for? We've had a lot of young people complaining about how difficult it is for them to get to a health facility, but this platform leads you straight to the correct person that you are able to ask. And just like I said, there are no silly questions, and you don't have to face these questions alone. You have a friend with Ask Aunty Mimi. Yes, I submit.
Thank you so much, Miranda. And to whoever's watching, you have that one friend. Miranda has mentioned, you have that one friend, and that friend you can talk to about almost everything that you want is Aunty Mimi. Use this platform, and trust me, once you start using Aunty Mimi, you'll see how it's going to help you at the end of the day. It's going to link you to the facility that you need to access. It will help you access services that are nearest to you. And all you can do is just visit Aunty Mimi at www.auntymimi.org. And from there, you'll be able to access it and use it. So thank you so very much for today. I would love to appreciate my guests, our developer, and of course, Miranda, who has helped us to just understand what Aunty Mimi is all about, the things that you can find on Aunty Mimi, how you can use it, who is behind it, how you can access it, and just how it's going to benefit you at the end of the day. This is very, very, very nice, and it's a very brilliant platform whereby you're just seated to yourself and you'll be able to interact with it, and it's taking you to where you want to be at the end of the day. This should not just end here as a show. It should be, after this show, you should be able to visit Aunty Mimi and just ask your questions. If you have anything that you'd like to say, the comment section is still open for you. You can still comment in those in our comment section, and we'll be able to get back to you and just respond to some of the things that you need clarifications on. And of course, I want to say thank you so very much to Memory for making this show inclusive to our friends out there, and to each and every particular person who participated in this show. We want to say thank you. Your participation has been really, really amazing today, and you have really shown that you've been using Aunty Mimi, and just in a short period of time, you've been able to ask so many questions and just to see how beneficial it is. For now, we are saying goodbye and see you next week with another episode of the Real Talk Show, and probably another interesting topic that we can discuss together and just know how best we can learn from one another. For now, it's a bye-bye from me and our guests. Bye to you all.